Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Tim, back once again for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Brazilian Grand Prix with my co-commentator, Tom, who has just been able to join in. We apologize for the technical difficulties that we have experienced at the beginning of the stream, but we should be good to go now as we watch TNR Frederick in the Aston Martin start his flying lap. And what an absolute rainy downpour of a puddle this place is right now. Tom, are you here with us? Can you hear me? And how are you doing today as TNR Frederick goes into the wall?
Oh, that's not what we want to hear at all. But hey, I'm doing alright. Getting up, I think, a little bit tired because I'm working now. But hey, new transition in life, but I'll handle it. How are you?
And these things happen. By the way, Tom, I think we might still be having a little bit of an issue with your microphone, so I only heard bits and pieces, but I did hear you got a new job. Congratulations on that. I do hope you enjoy it.
Very much. Very much. It's going very well. On a bit better?
All right, I think that we are okay. Just still watching TNR Frederick, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at Bossy Gaming in the AlphaTauri. He is a substitute for today in the GP2 series. So Bossy Gaming running that number 12 AlphaTauri. So far, you got Calvin on pole to Jonas in second, Cassidy in third, racing up to in fourth, Asian 2002 in fifth, and Sonicok in the sixth position. We have a wet qualifying, as you can see. Not sure about the race. Hopefully, we can get someone to chime in here and tell us about what the forecast is going to be, because Codemasters, in their infinite wisdom, decided to not give commentators access to the weather report.
Yeah, it's a bit silly, that, isn't it? When you're a commentator, you just when there's like a wet quali or a dry quali, regardless of what the conditions in quali, it's like you go into the race unprepared because you don't even know like what's going to happen. Is you're so reliant of inside information from drivers that about the conditions, like.
So, Tom, I think that you did just cut out once again. Hopefully we can get that microphone issue sorted out. We are trying for the guys here, but looks like Ivan is here in the chat with us at least, so that is good to know. So, Ivan, you were the winner last week. Congratulations on that, by the way. Sorry we weren't able to talk with you. Hopefully one day, though, we will be able to talk. But so far, you got to Jonas up there in first in the McLaren.
Or retired in the pits. Yeah, he's got off during that wait, X-Gamer's retired as well, weirdly enough. 3 drivers that.
Tom, you are actually still cutting out. Not sure what's happening there.
Sorry, but just... Oh my god.
But Rogue Smithy down there, as you were mentioning, Rogue Smithy, X-Gamer, and King David, all 3 of those drivers retiring. Now, Rogue Smithy, he did pick up a 5-place grid penalty. And so far, yes, you do sound better, Tom. Matty, so far in the Alfa Romeo in 10th, a 119.105 to Jonas, a 117.750 now, the fastest lap.
Wow. Wow, very good lap by Jonas on the inters. In-game's coming in. Bossy. I'm surprised Bossy didn't race in GP2 last night, I'll be honest. I don't know if it was due to other things, but it's good to see him out there in an SFR during the out there in Brazil, racing an SFR in Brazil anyway, but how he gets on in a higher division.
Yeah, and Bossy Gaming, you know, of course, as we know, he's a very experienced driver. He has raced in GP4 before, and as you said, races in GP3 now, and today in GP2 as a reserve. So if you're noticing, we do not have 2 of our I'd say, staple drivers this season as well. Yeah, there was a little bit of a wiggle there on that AlphaTauri, but we do not have two of our staple drivers in the Haas today, that being Carwin, Robb, and Trench. Both drivers have decided that today, for whatever reason, they are not able to make it. Who knows what's happened? We wish them the best, but in place of those drivers, of course, we have racing up there in the Haas. Bossy Gaming, he's one of the reserves as well. So we got a nice batch of reserves today, but Carbon Robb still does lead the championship point standings. It was 278 points to Teemo's 198.5. Now Teemo, he's up there in the second position. Let's go ahead and take a look at him in the Mercedes. He has done such a great job. In the past few weeks, we have been talking him up, saying that he really does have a chance at this championship, but the races are really dwindling down. We have about 4 races, I believe, counting this one today, left on the schedule. So Teemo really needs to pick up the pace, and I'm almost starting to think that if he doesn't just win each race from here on out, that his championship chances are gone. And the thing with Teemo is he's either on the podium, scoring points, or it's winning. A DNF.
Yeah, true. It's like you just don't know what you're going to get. I think he is a top driver, and I definitely see him as I think he's definitely good enough to be competing in GP1, but yeah, again, like you say, you just don't know what you're going to get. From in certain races. Calvin retires in the pits. Oh, he's gone off actually. Hold the phone. I'm going to go on board with Frederick. Yep. On board with Frederick. He's gone off in the first corner and coming to the second corner in sector 2. Just lost control of the car, which is so hard not to do in these conditions. Just went off.
Yeah, and, you know, that's the thing. Racing in the rain, qualifying in the rain, whatever you're doing, there's just no grip out there. I mean, we had the intermediate tires, we had the wet weather tires that really help with the grip, but it doesn't matter what your setup is, it doesn't matter what tire compound you have, you're just going to struggle for grip. It's the nature of the beast, and unfortunately for Calvin, he just was not able to hang on to it, but looks like he's going to get at least a 9th place starting position. Might drop down a little bit further down the board, but it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Right.
And Calvin, he is not a happy camper either. If you take a look at the chat, he is, in fact, raging, I would say. So, you know, Calvin seeing a little bit of red today, but at least it happened in the qualifying instead of the race. As TNR Frederick starts yet another flying lap, he has just been trying to get a time down for the entire session, and for whatever reason, he just can't seem to do it. So Chain Game Wow in the AlphaTauri now. We'll take a look at him. Tom, not sure.
Jonas has just improved.
116.943 for Jonas in the McLaren.
And here comes Chain Game. I mean, mind you, he does have another AlphaTauri ahead of him, but not the bossy kind, but Chain Game. He's in P16.
Yeah, Chain Game Wow not really having the qualifying session that he needs to. Let's take a look at TNR Frederick. I'm pulling for him at this point to get himself a time on the board, and I think that he is finally going to be able to do that. And he's running out of time.
Looking like that as he comes across. E11. Solid start. A good bit of time, but gotta start somewhere, right?
Exactly. And what I find interesting is that Jonas has the fastest lap on the wet weather tires, so that would suggest that the wet compound is the way to go. But then you look at everyone else, or almost everyone else, and they are on the intermediate tire, so it really seems like the track is changing conditions from the wet weather to the intermediate tire. The question is, by the time we get to this qualifying end, will the pole sitter be on wets, or will they be on the green intermediates? Because it really seems to be about a mix-match bunch. It's almost dependent on setup and driving style rather than track conditions, because it seems like either tire can work.
Yeah, it is, because the rain is starting to dampen, as you can tell, so hard to say. Like, we don't know the full data, whether the track is better or on inters or it's still on wets, but other than that.
So Crowhawk going fastest now on the intermediate tires. I think that answers our question, Tom. A 116.28 or 823, excuse me, with the pole position in that Alfa Romeo.
Very good lap from him.
So TNR Frederick now goes quickest, a 116.752, but then Teemo goes quickest, a 116.621. Wow. Just 6 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. Yeah, exactly what was that?
Frederick up at the second now. What a lap from him.
And now we have a little bit of racing action. Teemo running side by side with the Alpine here. He was for a moment, not sure exactly what's going on. I think both of them might be on the lap, but the Alpine decided to let him go. I believe that is Cassidy. Actually, no, that is Sonicok, the boss man of Sonicok, riding alongside of Teemo there for just a moment. His best lap time, a 119.710. So just watching Sonicok, and he has decided that the wet weather tires for him is at least the way to go. But at this rate, it looks like Sonic might be starting on a fresh set of medium tires for the race, assuming, of course, that we are going to be racing in the dry. We still have not got any weather confirmation, so you know as much as we do at this point. And Sonicok really...
Just checking the stream to see if my audio was okay. But if it isn't, feel free to comment down below in the stream and call me out on it.
Yeah, we are definitely having some audio issues. I'm having trouble hearing Tom through my ears, but hopefully everyone on stream can at least hear him. Otherwise, I think that everything is going smooth. We're just back from a 2-week break at GP2, and apparently all of our technical difficulties have just decided to hit us all at once.
Yeah, of course it happened. Had to happen when Tim is on. This is not your fault, by the way. It's Upta goes up into into provisional pole, sorry. With a 116, hold on, 116.5.37, 116.537, sorry, keep correcting myself.
So racing up to looking very good so far, Teemo, and then Yeast there in third place. Now Yeast, he was Macaulay, that was his name. He's decided to change his name outright, so it is now Eric's Yeast, but that is still Macaulay. He will still keep his points. It's not like when you change your name, you're going to have to start from scratch. That is still Macaulay, so forgive us if we call him Macaulay, because we know him as such.
He'll always be known as Macca to me as well.
As
Teemo, if you're watching this, that was for you, mate, as well, mate.
And Teemo goes quickest, a 115.994 in the Mercedes with just under 3.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session.
Good lap from Teemo. I think he's looking to do everything within his power to just stay within that title fight.
And Maddie
to Jonas goes for original pole. 115.7.
That he does, and just a brief moment. Oh my goodness! And to Jonas, he actually wrecks out of the qualifying session.
Oh no! Who do we go on board with just to see? Not. Oh, hold on. It's Upta. We're going on board of Upta now, and he's just lost it coming into the end, into that corner where you'd normally get in a dry race, the second DRS straight.
Yeah, unfortunate for Jonas that he just completely lost it, but he might still walk away with the pole position, so maybe it's not going to be all bad for the McLaren driver, but let's see what Teemo's going to do. He's actually going to bypass the pit lane, so let's see if he sets it on the pole, and he does, a 115.489.
These lap times are just getting quicker and quicker in these conditions, mind you, and the division.
So Crowhawk on an outlap now in the Alfa Romeo. Senna Martin's there in the Ferrari. Good to see him back with us. A 116.870 was his best lap time, but he is on an outlap as well, and this will likely be these drivers' final flying laps once they make it back around the front straightaway.
Yeah, it's looking like that, isn't it? Because we've still got 4 minutes to go, to be fair, so you've got... I mean, depends on how much fuel you take. You might, if you've got enough, you might go for 2 runs. If you're lucky. 2 or 3 runs if you're lucky. Judging the amount of time the drivers have spent out on track, I think this could look like a dry race. I might be wrong on that, but I'm not ruling out anything. So we're clear.
I'm not ruling out anything either, Tom, because we both know better than to rule out anything. We have been with SFR plenty of times to understand that the impossible can and will happen if you just give it enough time and the right situation. Crowhawk, though, looks like he went purple in the first sector. He might be on for a very good lap. This will be his final flying lap. Let's see if the Alfa Romeo can put it on the pole. His teammate for the day, Matty, he is a reserve driver, but he has went up
retired.
to 8.
He's just retired.
Meanwhile, Matty, he just went up to 4th now in the Alfa Romeo.
He's having a good showing. Sorry for interrupting again.
Tom, I think that there is oh my goodness, and Crowhawk, a huge slide, but he was able to hang on to it. But yeah, I think there might be like a half a second delay. So I think that's what's going on here. This does happen sometimes. I guess it just takes a while for the voices to go across that very big pond that separates the United States from the United Kingdom.
Bloody time zones.
Exactly. So Crowhawk about to cross the line.
If we were in the same time zone, I'd be watching more NASCAR by now. But anyway, back on topic.
So Crowhawk, he does not improve enough, is in P13 at the moment. TNR Frederick, he's on a
3 temps, by the way.
Yeah, TNR Frederick in the Alfa Romeo, or excuse me, the Aston Martin. I keep getting the A's mixed up. There's a lot of A's this for this past season.
Alpine, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin. 4 teams on the grid are named have got the word A on them. Who have the name lettered A as the first initial. But Frederick going up into P2, almost a 10th off Teemo as well. And that, I think, just wait on Bossy to come across. That should be the end of quali.
So TNR Frederick, a 1:15.591, and as you said, Bossy Gaming, the only driver left on track, but he's going into the pit, so he will not improve his lap this time. It's going to be a 1:15.979 for Bossy Gaming.
Let's just check and see if there was any comments on the stream. Anyway, Tim, take it away.
So Cassidy in 6th place, he's having a very good showing today. Just waiting to run that clock out, unfortunately, which sometimes we get stuck in this. But we do have to run that clock out. But I do believe that what you see is what you're going to get. So Teemo is going to get the pole once again. And hopefully, for his sake anyway, he can translate that into a win. But your official starting lineup for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Brazilian Grand Prix is Teemo in 1st, Frederick in 2nd, Jonas in 3rd, G-Max, otherwise known as Max Iris, in 4th, racing up to in 5th, Cassidy in 6th, Bossy Gaming in 7th, Matty in 8th, 9th is Chain Game Wow, with Yeast in 10th, Martin in 11th, 12th is Cinna Martins, Asian 2002 in 13th, Crowhawk in 14th, Sonichawk in 15th, Morris in 16th, Calvin in 17th, Rogue Smithy in 18th, 19th is X Gamer, and King David in the 20th position. A full grid of drivers today for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and that makes me very excited, Tom. But you know what time it is for our top 3 predictions.
Ooh, right. I'm going to go Teemo, Frederick, and you know I like to predict someone to come out from outside the top 10. Calvin.
I'm going to go with, in any order, Teemo, Max Iris, and Bossy Gaming. Now, of course, guys, in the chat, feel free to participate in this little game with us. Of course, you don't win anything except bragging rights, but it's just a nice little fun game, and it looks like we are going to have a dry race, and I was really hoping for that. I'm just going to throw that out there because a dry race around Brazil is just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I love Brazil. One of my favourite tracks on the calendar on a personal scale, but it's just... it might frustrate a few people, but it's for me. It's basically the South American version of Silverstone, in my opinion, because it's so fast, it's flowing. I think you get I think there are so many opportunities to overtake around here. It's just so good to drive.
it is a very fun track. I found on Monday that the track, you can really just feel it underneath you almost when you're driving, well, as much as you can sim racing anyway. I mean, obviously we don't actually feel the track, but it just seems like the car, like you said, it really does want to flow, and if you can get a good setup that fits your driving style, you just love it. You can be running slow lap times and you're still having fun.
Definitely. Like, that's how good the track is. Simple as that.
Now, it should be an easy one-stop strategy around here, soft to mediums or medium to soft. The soft tires are going to be lasting anywhere from 11 to 15 laps, given that window, but I'd say that we're going to start seeing drivers pit once they have about 13 or 14 laps on those tires. If they pit a little early, they pit a little bit later, maybe 15, 16 laps. I don't expect anyone to go any further than 16 laps on the soft tires, and of course the medium tires can last to the end of the race from that point. If you start on the medium tires, then you might find yourself pitting after about 19 laps or so at the most, at least in my personal experience, and then you can go to the softs for approximately the rest of the way. But with safety cars, that of course can throw that strategy out the window, and then you're gonna have to learn how to adapt.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just speaks, again, another reason why I like Brazil is because it's so open season for strategy. The tire wear, like granted, as I pointed out in the GP3 stream last night, it's like the hards can be really punishing at the start, but I think you'd be in good hands for tire wear, because like you say, you can take the softs for about 15, 16 laps, and the mediums you can just go on longer then, but like, ready for the lights out.
Hopefully so. The remaining drivers just finding their appropriate positions on the grid. A full 20 drivers showing up to race today, and that is always a beautiful sight. Teemo starting from the pole. He knows that his chances at the championship are dwindling, but he is still going to try to keep them alive. And with his competitor Carbon Rob not able to make it today, that means that he has got a good chance today to gain on him. And here we go. You drivers watching the lights, you hear those itchy pedal feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights, and we are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Brazilian Grand Prix. And Teemo already losing the first position because who is that? Frederick going underneath him, and then the McLaren of DeJohn is going under him as well. So Teemo in second place.
Very good start by Frederick. I mean, I was on board in the midfield just to keep an eye on what goes on there, but what a start by Frederick, who takes the lead, uses the soft tyres to his advantage. There seems to be someone that's gone off, and that's Sonic Hawk, who's already got wing damage.
Oh, and Cassidy, he is off the track now, and he has got wing damage. He was trying to make a pass around Teemo, and it just did not quite work. He got into the wall, so now Cassidy going to be dropping. The two Alpines already having trouble early on. Meanwhile, Teemo went from first to third on those medium tires, but that first stint, he can definitely hold on a lot longer than those soft tires ahead of him. The problem is will he be able to, as the look at the move Racing Up that just made on Max Iris to get into the fourth position, and he clears the Red Bull.
Calvin's off. Wing damage as well, potentially. Let me take a look. Surely.
Riding on board with Bossy Gaming, meanwhile, as they go up the very long home straightaway to complete the first lap, and he has a little bit of slipstream off of the cars ahead of him, but really everyone is stuck in a slipstream train at the moment because DRS is not yet active. Chain Game Wow just ahead of him, his teammate, but it's a side-by-side battle between Chain Game Wow and Max Iris. Max Iris loses out, goes back to 6th place, might even lose 7th to Bossy.
Tell you what, Bossy's having a really good start to his GP2 debut, unless he's raced in this division before, but he's had a good start to his race. I think, despite the fact despite his luck in GP3, he's shown consistently that he's got the pace to be up there. And so far, I know it's only 2 laps, and yes, the contest curse might happen, but to be fair to him, he's actually holding his own in this field.
Meanwhile, Yeast, he's battling with Max Iris now, and he gets around the Red Bull, but will he be able to clear him? He makes a move on the outside line, those soft tires carrying him around, so move Yeast up into the 7th position. Max Iris really dropping back on those medium tires all the way back to 8th place. So the medium tire starters have really found that the soft tires were the way to go, at least at the start, but like we've said many times, it's not where you start. It's not even where you are on the third lap. It's where you are on the last lap. So Teemo holding strong in third, Yeast holding strong in seventh. But G-Max, who started on the medium tires, he is dropping back very significantly, all the way back to ninth now as Martin was able to get around him.
Yeast he's on the inside of Bossy for P6. Ooh, side by side, are they gonna get? Is he gonna get the move done? He's got the car advantage. He's got the advantage. Bossy's not giving up. Good stuff by Yeast. Up at the P6 he goes.
So I want to check back on Teemo now in this battle for the lead, because to Jonas and Frederick, they have been very close together in racing up to on those soft tires, really starting to reel in Teemo in that Mercedes as well. So really we have what is essentially a 4-car battle, more or less, for the lead, but Frederick is really starting to pull away. 1.4 seconds now separating him and Jonas. So let's just go ahead and make that a 3-car battle for the second position instead.
Yeah, it's just, I think that I think the medium tire, the medium soft strategy, if it's based on the consequence of a wet quash, it has. I think in the past it's worked, but so far they just haven't really got up to their full temperature. So I think if you give it like 4 or 5 more laps, maybe more, I think they should be able to warm up.
Oh, and Yeast almost got into the back of Chain Game Wow, Tom. Sorry to interrupt you there, but Chain Game Wow, he was able to make a move around him in the DRS zone, and then Yeast trying to go back and battle hard with the AlphaTauri, but just not quite able to get around him. But both drivers playing it very safe, very clean right now. Only lap 4 of 36, but the DRS has obviously been active now for a lap, so that means that we're going to start seeing a lot more overtakes. And let's see when and if Teemo can get around to Jonas, because he is starting to reel him in, but just behind him, he's got racing up to in the Haas, but here goes Teemo around the inside. Will he be able to make the move? Yes, he does. Move Teemo up into the second position to Jonas, down to third, racing up to having his sights set on the Papaya Orange McLaren.
Those
now
have got the potential to be coming to life now.
We got a side-by-side battle, though, as to Jonas goes back around Teemo, and now racing up to follows him through.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same cycle of one car overtaking on the DRS first, the main DRS straight, and then onto the DRS in sector 1. The same happens again, but it's all very tight between that second to fourth place bracket. Yeast goes up in fifth. We might have missed that, but
I think that there's just a lot of moves happening right now, Tom, and unfortunately we only have one camera at a time. If we could have a multi-view, that would honestly just be absolute perfection. But racing up to going around to Jonas now.
2 laps in a row to Jonas has been overtaken on that DRS straight. But
yeah.
At the same time, sorry to interrupt you, 2 laps in a row, he is going to have that advantage on the second DRS straight as well.
So let's see if Jonas is going to be able to get around. Racing up to will hold him off. Racing up to is going to hold him off, but Jonas got a little bit closer there. Thought about making a move, but ultimately just was not able to do that. Meanwhile, we got a battle back there for the 8th position as Bossy Gaming has lost position to Max Iverson. Wow, the McLaren of Asian 2002 went way off the track and was absolutely drifting around that corner. Now side by side with Maddie, who moves up into the 10th position. Asian 2002 back to 11th. Morris trailing them in 12th, and then look at X Gamer in 13th place, while his teammate of Senna Martins in the Ferrari all the way back there in the 16th position. So both Ferrari drivers not having a good day so far, but it looks like this is the forming of a DRS train from Maddie all the way back to X Gamer.
It's just crazy how much is going on in this race, and it's like the medium runners, I think it might take a bit of time for them to start properly clicking, but Asian, he's got a run. Full DRS to his advantage, but so does Matty. Both of them stay where they are. Oh, Matty had went slightly over the edge in that corner, and lost a bit of time, but he's going to keep hold of it.
And my goodness. And Asia 2002 just not wasting any time. And I'll tell you, Tom, I don't think you could fit tissue paper between those two cars.
No, you can't. Like, there's no way that would be achievable.
So meanwhile, Chain Game Wow and Yeast having a nice little battle, but they are going to be stuck in what is essentially a DRS train. Martin back there as well joining that mix. So the two Red Bull drivers running nose to tail, 7th and 8th position. Max Cyrus just trying to chase down his teammate and get a little bit closer to him. But let's see what Martin's going to be able to do on this AlphaTauri here up this DRS straight, because this is going to be a bit of a train. Chain Game Wow will have DRS off of Yeast. Yeast is going to be a bit of a sitting duck, but I think he might be able to hold him off. But just as I say that, there goes Chain Game Wow around Yeast. They're battling side by side. Chain Game Wow clears him going into turn number 1.
But I think Yeast should have him again. Although Martin is going to be on the back of him now. He's got the run.
And Yeast he does have a run, but he had to back out of it. And a little bit of contact still.
There's an Aston Martin off the track, and that's got to be Rogue Smithy. It is Rogue Smithy. Just got on board. Oh no, Bossy! What's happened to him?
So Bossy Gaming.
He's lost the front wing, and there's a safety car come out, and it's Asian involved as well. Don't know what happened there.
So Bossy Gaming might have got a little bit of a break there with the safety car, because otherwise he would have had to pit to change that front wing, and he would have lost a ton of time. Now he at least sticks with each other. So meanwhile, TNR Frederick racing up to Jonas, your top 3, with Teemo and Chain Game Wow, your top 5. And then Yeast, Martin, Max Iris, Morris, and Maddie, your top 10. And a lot of drivers pitting right now, as to be expected.
Yeah, there's quite a few people coming in. The medium runners stay out. Frederick losing his lead. I mean, as frustrating as it is, it's not the end of the world for him, because it's still very early on in the race. So,
and meanwhile, Crowhawk, he just picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car.
No. Oh no! I think he fell victim to the dreaded Delta, because it's just horrible in slow corners. Like, you could literally go at a normal pace, and yet you'd still fall below the Delta. It's that much of a nightmare.
And I can speak from experience, Tom, it really is a bit of a nightmare, and I find myself under safety car and virtual safety car conditions using the brake pedal more than I use the throttle, just trying to make sure that I keep that Delta green. And Martin now a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings under the safety car. I don't see how that is even a thing, honestly. But such is how it is. These penalties are given out, and unfortunately we cannot do anything about them. But I'd say that Martin agrees with us when we say that that's not a justified penalty.
No, I don't think it is a justified penalty, but sadly there's nothing you can do aside from pit in, take that, deserve it anyway, bite the bullet.
Well, you can only get rid of the 5-second time penalties. The 3 seconds will hang over your head for the remaining of the race, and there is an update on your penalties right now, as Yeast has 5 seconds, Martin with 3 seconds, and Chain Game Wow with 5 seconds as well, and then 3 for Bossy Gaming, Rogue Smithy and Cassidy, and then, of course, the drive-through for Crowhawk in the Alfa Romeo.
Wow, quite a few. But it's crazy how quickly the penalties are coming. You're right. 3 of them, two of them, correction, are on 5-second penalties. But if you take a look at overtakes, a position change, Morris and X-Gamer are both the biggest gainers with 13 places. Cassidy, losing the most places, lose by going down to 17th, and meaning he's lost 11 places during the process.
A lot of drivers moving around from where they started, but Teemo finds himself back where he started on the medium tires. As you said, Tom, those medium tire runners staying out under the safety car condition, just waiting for the safety car to pull in, and Teemo will be the control car when this restart happens. So far, it is lap 10 of 36, so still a lot of racing to go. And of course, the top 5 drivers still need to make a pit stop. I do believe everyone else has made their stops, and everyone else has already adhered to the 2 different tire compound rule, except for the top 5, which obviously they will have to pit for soft tires soon, but they still got quite a ways to go before they have to worry about that.
Apologies for missing that. Now, how's Teemo going to manage this? Started on pole, but bunched up the field.
So we're going to ride on board with Max Iris for this start, and we'll see just what kind of start Teemo's going to be able to get. The trick is to catch everyone else sleeping, and that's exactly what he did. Teemo, he just rocketed away.
By Teemo. Brilliant restart. Max Iris got caught out. X-Gamer down the inside of Matty. Roderick looking to follow through. He's right behind him. Side by side as an Aston Martin off again, and it's Rogue Smithy.
And racing up to looking underneath of TNR Frederick, but is he going to be able to make the move? It's going to be side by side through the corner. Both drivers leave room. Frederick gets the momentum on the outside.
Oh, defended by Frederick. Now he's going to have a go at Matty's.
Oh, and racing up has been hit, and he slides, and he gets into the McLaren of Jonas as well.
Did his teammate just hit him? Oh, wait, if that's the case, this feels like Silverstone 2019 all over again. And Brazil 2019 altogether, except them, they're not in Ferraris, they're in it's actually Haas, not Ferrari, but hey.
King David really trying to make some moves through the field, though not sure who hit him. We were riding on board with racing up to, and all of a sudden his car slid, but a good job to him to hang on to that. I don't think he's got any wing damage, but we do need to check that and see. He did also get into the McLaren up to Jonas, who does look like he is fine. No wing damage there, and no wing damage on racing up to that I can see. So all he's suffering from is hurt feelings and a couple of loss of position.
That is off. And it's gone round. Car looks okay though, but it's not going to help him whatsoever as King David does get past Frederick, potentially side by side. Frederick keeps on with the place. Nicely done by the Norwegian.
And Martin, wow, Martin just not wasting any time and making his way around racing up top.
Contact between Frederick and King David. I was on board for him. King David went for a lunge. I don't think it was a dive bomb. I think it'd be really unfair to call it that. But he went for a move. But sadly, just the gap was just not there. And as a result, he just went round.
So Martin, he has been the big winner there, going up into the 8th position. Now let's take a look at Max Iris, who's starting to get a little bit closer to Teemo, and now DRS is enabled, so he should have a passing opportunity here in the next couple of corners. Once they get to this straightaway here, I think they just passed the DRS detection zone, and of course G-Max being as close as he is, of course he's going to be able to have DRS on Teemo, but will he be able to make the move? He is gaining on him quite significantly, but cannot get close enough.
Close enough. And look at this, Morris up into 3rd. Renault's retired in the pits.
And Morris, he has done a fantastic job today, and thank you for pointing out that he was up in the 3rd, because we need to take a look and see just how many positions he has gained. And as you can see, he has gained a whopping 13 positions. X-Gamer behind him gaining 14 positions from the start of this race. By far, both of those drivers our biggest movers so far of the day.
I mean, where did Morris start, by the way?
See if he gained 13 positions, I believe, if my math is correct. 16.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I think I know X-Gamer started from 2019, sorry.
Oh, and just ahead of Morris, there goes Max Iris around Teemo for the lead.
By Max Iris.
So Teemo, he's going to have DRS once again on Max Cyrus, though. Will he be able to make the move done? Max Cyrus really showing some strength around here today, and I think that he was using a lot of ERS to keep Teemo behind him that time.
That was brilliantly defended by Max Cyrus. Got the move done on the main DRS train, and down the outside, was it? Inside? Apologies, I was not on board at that time, but got the move done.
So Matty, we were talking about him in qualifying. He was a reserve in the Alfa Romeo. He's found himself up into the 5th position. Of course, he is one of the drivers who started on the medium tires, but he is starting to have a nice tight battle with X-Gamer. He has kept himself locked to the back of that Ferrari, and you know what we're seeing now is obviously one of those DRS trains, so that's very frustrating as a driver to have to deal with, especially when you have guys with fresher tires running you down behind you who might actually be able to break that DRS train because of the fresher tires. But sooner rather than later, these medium tire runners are going to have to pit. I'd say at approximately 6 laps, we're going to see these medium tires come in.
Oh, Bossy and Martin side by side. Bossy brilliantly around the outside of that Red Bull. That's allowed chain gate to close in as well.
So Bossy Gaming, Chain Game, Wow, running nose to tail, the two AlphaTauri teammates, and Martin just behind them. So the off-brand Red Bulls running in front of the on-brand Red Bulls, but then the other on-brand Red Bull is leading the entire race with Teemo just behind him, and very surprised to see actually Teemo not being able to take the fight more to Max Iris. It seemed as though he had the dominant car, but once Max Iris found that clean air, he has just been able to rocket away. He's still within DRS zone of Teemo, so Teemo still does have a chance, but we do see that gap increasing lap by lap just ever so slightly.
Crazy, isn't it? Now, how long do you think the older mediums give up?
At this point, I'd say about 5 laps, Tom.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 laps, you know, approximately. Obviously, the safety car has definitely helped their tire wear, but they're going to have to pit sooner rather than later. You're going to be running about 14 or 15 laps on the soft tire around here.
That's very true. I mean, mind you, the 16 laps on soft is most definitely doable, in my opinion, because, again, I've said this before, and it's quite obvious, but tire wear is just so good around here. You can literally do anything you want.
So Max Iris, Teemo, Morris, your top 3 with X-Gamer, Matty, your top 5, Frederick to Jonas, Bossy Gaming, Chain Game, Wow, and Martin, your top 10. And looks like King David on those soft tires back there in 12th. He is slowly gaining on Calvin, and he's going to be in the DRS zone, so we might see a move as Martin gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That is up there in the 10th position, just ahead of this battle, but King David did not get the exit that he needed. Calvin Racing did, so King David will not be making a move this time.
Oh, brilliantly done by Calvin. Look at that train of the top 7, all still chasing down the race leader as well. Like, it all comes down to exits, doesn't it? Because one bad exit and the car right behind you is potentially just going to swallow you up, especially if you're not careful. But as Rogue Smithy gets a 3-second, Jane Game gets a 3-second penalty, and there's someone's just gone off. That's Crowhawk, who has wing damage.
And as a result, that brings out the virtual safety car. Maybe will it transfer to a full safety car, but we'll have to just wait and see. So far, just a virtual safety car. This might give the guys ahead, though, an opportunity to make a pit stop. We'll see if any of these drivers decide to blink. It's maybe a touch early to go ahead and do so, but I'd say they're at least considering it, but they do all bypass the pit entrance. And, you know, if that virtual safety car had came out 3 laps later, it wouldn't have been a question. I'm sure that they would have went ahead and pitted, but
Definitely.
This time it wasn't going to happen.
No, it wasn't. Like, it only lasted a few seconds, and they were just gone after that.
So we keep it locked on the view of Morris because he really does seem to have the best view of the battle for the lead at the moment. And Morris, he is really impressing me because, oh my goodness, and he had a little bit of a slide there. I could actually see the car breaking loose a little bit, but he held on to it very nicely. I think that I was a little bit more disturbed by it than he was.
Very well caught by Morris.
Like I'm not crazy, right, Tom? Like, it was sliding just ever so slightly.
Yeah, it was. Like, it's crazy how it all comes. It might either be a setup issue or you just put a bit too much throttle through that corner. But yeah, very well caught. But he's gonna have X Gamer on the back of him now.
Yeah, X Gamer really trying to make something out of his season. He has had a very up and down season. He's had a couple of good runs, but here as of late, it's really been a struggle. He had a chance at a podium in COTA, but unfortunately for him, at the last lap, he lost out on it, and he's had a few DNFs. Do what?
My race in COTA could have been a win. Oh, contact between the X Gamer and Morris, but no harm, no foul.
X Gamer, does he have any wing damage? Not that I can see. That was very, very light contact.
It was very light. Very light. It was no issue. In hindsight. Jonas losing a place to Matty. Fair play to him. He's actually kept within that pack. Despite the fact he's on like 18 lap old mediums. Just wow.
Frederick, though, he has made his way up into the 5th position, and he will inherit this lead once these drivers in front of him decide to make a pit stop, but it's still just a touch early.
Morris has just bolted in. What's he going to go on?
Well, he's going to have to go on the soft tires, I mean, obviously. Tom. And he does go on those soft compound tires, taking it 16 laps to the end for Morris. G-Max, meanwhile, still leads Morris's teammate of Teemo.
Wow. Yeah. They're still neck and neck at that top. At the top, it's just ridiculous. Morris going very early. Could this be the 100 IQ play from him?
Maybe.
16 to go. It could backfire on him if he's not careful. As Rogue Smithy goes off, and Asian has got off. Safety car is out. That could be the dreaded double stack for the AlphaTauris.
Now, here's the question, Tom. Did that really help Morris whatsoever? Because the guys in front of him are going to pit right now, and by right now, I mean Max Iris is almost at the pit entrance. So he's not going to have enough time to pass them. So really, Morris, the undercut, if it had stayed green, might have worked for him.
Frederick's staying out, so he's going to regain the lead almost by the time the safety car comes in.
So Jonas stays out as well. X Gamer obviously in the pits. So everyone that was on the medium tires that were 18 laps old, pitting for a fresh set of softs, and they will definitely be able to go to the end of the race now because this safety car is going to last us at least 3 laps, and the window for those soft tires is just over 16 laps. I think technically you can go 18 if you need to.
Yeah.
Keyword need to, not necessarily should.
No, that's true. But the question is, do you think Frederick and Jonas can stay out on those softs? Because they're 11 laps old and we've got around 15 to go, 15, 16 to go. Can those mediums hold out to the end of the race?
Well, Tom, will they hold? I believe so. But I don't think that it was the right call to stay out on the medium tires. They really should have pitted for a fresh set of softs. But I do wonder, do they have a fresh set of softs? I actually had an issue on Monday to where I thought I should have had a fresh set of softs when in reality it was telling me that I didn't. And I really wasn't sure if I did or not. So that might just be Jeff messing up, or they might have just made the wrong call. Who's to say? We don't know.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
So Gareth Vickers, actually drives a Mercedes in the GP5 division. I've raced alongside him a couple of times. He is saying that he has personally done 22 laps on the medium tires in a practice race. So, to answer your question, with us having about 15-ish laps to go, the medium tires, I do think that they will last to the end of the race, but they are going to be on fire at the end of this race. Now, we do have less fuel in the cars now than when we started, so that does bode well for Frederick and Jonas, and the safety car obviously going to help tire wear as well. But I just do not see a reality where Frederick and Jonas get a podium without a very well-timed safety car after this one.
I wonder when the safety car's going to come in. Mind you, Yeast is a so I'll always call him Maka, but Maka is 10 seconds off that safety car, so it might be another lap until it comes in. You never know.
So Capricorn, he races in GP4, used to race in GP5 earlier in the season, won the very first GP5 race actually in Bahrain. He has decided that he believes that Frederick and Jonas have made the right call. So a little bit of differing of opinions. You know, you and I, we think that it's the wrong call. Seems that Gareth Vickers does as well, but then Capricorn, he's saying that it is the right call. But the only way that we're going to know for sure is to see where they finish at the end of this race. And see, these are the moments that really make these things exciting for me, Tom, because sometimes it's not just a cut black and white strategy, this works, this doesn't. Sometimes a driver, whether it be their setup or their driving style, can make an unorthodox strategy work. But unorthodox, again, can be a matter of perspective. So safety car is coming in this lap, so we will get our answer here very shortly. Going to be just a handful of laps to go, about 14 to go when they get to the line.
Yep, not long. How's Frederick going to manage this? They're leaving it very late. He's very late by Frederick. He's gone.
Hey. Yeah, Frederick, he waited until the line. He literally waited until the last minute, but then now we have a little bit of a scuffle behind.
Behind them.
And who is that making a move around the Red Bull? That is X-Gamer in the Ferrari trying to make his move into the 4th position. G-Max fighting back very hard.
Side by side. Come on, boys, keep it clean.
And there's some wing damage. Bossy Gaming, he is out of the session, so a car has crashed, and it is Bossy Gaming. Will that put us in another safety car? Frederick at 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. No safety car now, but a lot of cars still jostling around for position.
All very close. Frederick gets a 3-second time penalty, so that could affect him come the end of this race. Look, he tried. Look at this. Teemo just tried to go around the outside of De Jonas, and he hasn't been able to get that move done. But this, with 13 laps to go, it's got potential to be one of the craziest finishes of this division.
It really does, but look at just how close Teemo, G-Max, and Jonas are, along with really everybody except Frederick. And this is very much what it was looking like at the beginning of this race. Frederick somehow still maintaining the lead, but who was that that just made a very aggressive move? Side by side and a little bit of a slide.
Well caught by Teemo.
And Teemo only loses one position, and that was to Jonas.
Oh my goodness me, come on, keep it clean.
Oh, and now Teemo is spun. There's contact with Jonas.
X-Gamer might have got wing damage out of that. Oh no. 2 into 1 just didn't go. And I think X-Gamer and possibly Max Iris is unlucky to be an innocent bystander in that. X-Gamer feeling the full brunt of it, because look, he is struggling now.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. X-Gamer really not able to hang on to that car quite like he wants to, but I think that maybe it's starting to come back to him. But he has got Crowhawk on his rear end. Crowhawk and that Alfa Romeo, he might be making a move around X-Gamer here sooner rather than later. But Morris up there in 5th place, looking like he's starting to gain on Max Iris a little bit too.
Teemo's coming in. DRS is enabled. Oh, that's not going to do him any favors in that title race.
It's really not. And you know, you said that 2 didn't go into 1. That was, I don't know how to call that. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm glad I'm not a steward.
Yeah, I don't think there was any blame, but it was just, yeah, it just didn't work out in that corner, did it? That was for sure.
So Chain Game Wow on the back up to Jonas. Oh, and Chain Game Wow he doesn't get loose so as per se, but the car really does want to rotate around that corner. And wow, Chain Game Wow actually might have made a very minor bit of contact with the McLaren through that last set of corners, but obviously no wing damage, no harm, no foul there. We'll ride on board with Max Iris. He's got a fantastic view of this battle.
Chain Game looking to get a move done, but nothing as of yet.
So Chain Game Wow, he's got a chance onto Jonas, and he makes a move at the very last moment.
Down the inside, gets the move done.
And that opens the door for Max Iris as well. So Max Iris goes around the McLaren. So it's Jonas loses 2 positions in just 2 corners, but now he might be able to fight back with Max Iris. Oh, it's side by side. Wow, contact!
Contact. As you'd say. Obviously gets the fast stuff as well.
So Morris being very careful on these curbs here, almost actually spun it, but he's got a Red Bull on his outside. That is SFR Martin's coming out of absolutely nowhere, but Martin making his move into the 5th position and might even have his sights set onto Jonas.
Yeah, Martin's having a good race. From the midfield, I think, despite the 3-second penalty, although Morris could be in for company here. Look at that pack of cars, and Sonical, after trouble early on in this race, is up into P8. This could be a potential top 5.
Tom, we have a battle for the lead. Chain Game Wow going around TNR Frederick into turn number 1, and he makes the move done on the outside. My goodness, that was close.
Wow, what a move. Shit. Oh, no.
And it's a safety car.
Gone. Now, look at it from this perspective. What would you do if you were any of the front runners? Would you pit? Would you stay out?
Honestly, I think you stay out.
Either way is a risk.
It is a risk either way. The question is, what fresh tires do they have left? I don't believe that any of them have got any fresh set of soft tires left. Maybe a fresh set of medium tires. Now, TNR Frederick, 17 laps on those medium tires. I think at this point he's going to have to bite the bullet, go ahead, pit for a fresh set of soft tires, and try to make his way up through the field. There's just, it does not make sense to me to have the field bunched up and be out there on that old of tires. But on the drivers that pitted for the soft compound tires during the last safety car, they should be okay.
True. Mind you what, Frederick is on 17. Oh my goodness, Chain Game's come in. Frederick stayed out again.
So Chain Game decided to go in, but Max Iris and Martin both staying out, as does Morris. So Chain Game being the only driver in that top set of cars to really take the risk. But he does have a fresh set of soft tires, so maybe it'll pay off for him.
True. I mean, mind you, he does have that 3-second penalty to deal with. Everyone else pitting.
So Chain Game Wow, he will rejoin this race in the 6th position. Did not lose a lot of ground, and he is the highest running driver with fresh tires. So that bodes very well for him. When we go back green, we're going to have about 5 or 6 racing laps remaining. Do I think that is enough for Chain Game Wow to get up to first? No. Unfortunately for him, don't see it happening. A podium? Very likely, though.
Most definitely agree with you on that one, mate. Now, now that most of the field have all closed up together,
and Capricorn, he seems to be in agreement with us that the top 5 are in trouble because the softs will die quickly. And the safety car is coming in this lap, so we're actually going to be getting about 7 laps of racing, and I really like the sound of that. So that's going to that's going to put those soft tire runners in even more trouble. I might even have to revise what I said earlier. Chain Game Wow might have a chance at this win. He's going to have a few more racing laps than what I predicted, but TNR Frederick is still going to be the control car here, and we're going to ride on board with Max Cyrus. Last safety car, TNR Frederick waited until literally the last minute, until he got to the line to actually go, and he has every right to do that as he is the control car. This time, he goes just a little bit earlier and gets a fantastic jump on Max Cyrus.
Oh, restart, although Max Cyrus might come back at him later on. There's trouble at the back as X-Gamer loses quite a few places. And has got a broken... Hold on. Has got a broken front ring. Yes, he does, as I suspected. Chain Game getting caught up in the midst of all that as well. Two drivers with broken front wings. It's all chaos up in that midfield. Crowhawk up into 7th. Yeast, despite the fact he was near the back of the field a few laps ago, he's up into P6. Oh, cut dive bomb for on Sonic Hawk. Oh, it's on board with him now.
And Teemo making his way back up to the field now. He is in the 10th position. Oh, and that was 3 wide as Jonas goes underneath Teemo. Oh, and that was Sonic Hawk going off.
Oh my goodness me, this has got to be one of the craziest races I've commentated on. That's not the World Ride Celebration, it is GP3.
Meanwhile, Max Cyrus, he has caught Frederick. Max Cyrus has caught Frederick. Will he make the move into turn 1? No, he thought about it, he tried, couldn't do it, but he's going to have a chance to get around him in the next set of corners.
King David really looking down the inside of Martin. Oh, contact between the two! Matty gets 3 seconds as well, by the way. D-Max looking down the inside. Thought better of it. Sticks behind that Aston Martin. Who's defending so strongly.
Oh, and Chain Game Wow is out. What's happened to Chain Game?
No, he's retired in the pits. He's retired in the pits. He's had enough. That's that's a quarter of the field gone in this all out of this race.
So King David in 3rd, trying to make his way around Max Cyrus. Now King David, he has got a fresh set of soft tires. He has got a real chance to win this race, but there is a problem. He does have a time penalty. He's got 3 seconds, so he has to get 3 seconds ahead of Max Cyrus, 3 seconds ahead of Frederick, 3 seconds ahead of literally anybody that's going to be behind him if he's going to win this race, but he also has to get into the 1st position before he can worry about that. And Max Cyrus, once again, trying to make a move around Frederick. Can't do it, but the DRS is active now, so he should have an opportunity.
Look who could be taking advantage of all this. Macaulay on 2-lap-old softs was at the back earlier on in this race.
And King David follows Max Cyrus through, so he moves into the 2nd place. Frederick loses 2 positions down the DRS straight, and he's in jeopardy of losing another one to Martin. And meanwhile, just as you said, Yeast making his way into the 5th position.
Oh, contact between Macaulay and Martin. Oh, they're going for a round!
Oh, and Martin somehow is able to save it. Oh, my goodness!
Wow, what has happened there? What are you both doing?
Cue the Tokyo Drift theme song as we have got a 3-wide situation with Morris and the Mercedes, Frederick, and I believe the Haas are racing up. They're just behind them.
Oh my goodness, this is all gone to pot. Frederick had such a good race up to this point.
And Martin's off track again, though.
Oh, Martin, you've got to feel for him because he would have had a decent finish out of that.
Oh! And Martin goes into the wall. I'm almost wondering if that was intentional, Tom. Yeah. I don't know. Martin just went straight into the wall there after cutting a corner. I believe that might have been intentional. That's gonna. I'm not sure how the admins are gonna feel about that. But Max Cyrus going around King David for the 1st position, and he gets the move done in the DRS straight. But King David, he has got the fresh set of tires. Max Cyrus is fighting him maybe a little bit too hard. He's in jeopardy of losing.
What's happened to Macaulay? Safety car's out. Now. Someone, I think the driver that could be at a good advantage in all of this is Macaulay, because G-Max is on old tyres, Yeast is on fresh softs,
and you are right about that, Tom.
The 2 ahead of him have all got penalties.
You are right about that, Tom, is that McCauley, he might be able to get this win done today, but he is going to have to pass Max Iris. And Max Iris, he looks very fast on those 10-lap-old softs. But, again, the age of the tire, they definitely come to play. But the one saving grace for Max Iris is that McCauley, as you rightly mentioned, has those two drivers between them, and those two drivers have time penalties. So they're going to be racing very hard to not only get ahead of Max Iris, but to get 3 seconds ahead of him. Now here's an update on the penalty situation. 3 seconds for both King David and Crowhawk, as well as Maddie back there in 7th. Calvin in the Williams in 9th has 6 seconds worth of time penalty. So unfortunately for him, looks like it's going to be about a 10th or 11th place finish today due to that 6 seconds worth of time penalties. But we still do have to wait and see who is actually able to finish this race, because just a couple of laps ago, Tom, you pointed out that a quarter of the drivers have gone. Now it's almost half.
We could be on 2 more laps ago. Well, we could have end up being on potentially the second to last lap by the time the restart gets underway.
So Crowhawk, he has done a fantastic job here today, even with the time penalties, as has King David. You know, really, at this point, what started as hard racing has turned into a race of attrition, and it's all a matter of survival. So really, any driver at this point that has survived this race, I can say honestly, has done a fantastic job. Just waiting for that safety car to come in. It's lap 33 of 36, and it won't be long until we are back racing, and I do believe it will stay out for at least one more lap, because X Gamer is still trying to catch the field, but he has done so now. So, next lap, safety car should come in. That'll give us a whopping 2-lap shootout. Or 3-lap shootout, actually, I believe.
Oh, wow. That's the field bunched up together. Now, Jonas is on fresh softs. I mean, just clutching at straws here, but this has got to be possibly one of the races of the season. Because nearly half the field have gone.
And it really is an impressive race, Tom. And if you remember a couple weeks ago in Mexico, we had a late race safety car and we got a green-white checkered. Well, we're going to have the same thing today, a green-white checkered finish. Of course, all you NASCAR fans out there, you know exactly what we're talking about there. And it's going to be very exciting.
Definitely.
So I'm going to ride on board when the safety car pulls in with this driver here, the Williams driver of Yeast, otherwise known as McCauley, because as you've rightly pointed out, Tom, he stands possibly the best chance to win this race, assuming that Max Iris' tires give up the ghost. Now, Max Iris, he's a very experienced driver. He has won races this season, and for quite a while, he was one of the big names when we talked about a possible championship run. I do not believe he's got a chance at the championship anymore, but what he does have a chance at is winning this race, and we have seen that at least initially, the driver who starts first on these restarts is able to defend quite well against everybody else. Something about that clean air really agrees with these cars, but old tires can only last you so long. And right now, Max Iris' tires is over twice as old as McCauley's. So McCauley is really sitting pretty here, assuming that Max Iris doesn't get too far ahead.
Not a great restart by McCauley.
So
Max Iris is gone though.
So Crowhawk and King David going to be battling it out hard. Both of these drivers trying to overcome their time penalties, get the best position possible. And I think that Max Iris, this is the best thing that definitely could have happened for him. There is no DRS in these final closing laps because of the restart, so it's just going to be raw pace from here on out. And Max Iris timed it perfectly. Oh, and McCauley, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
No.
Sonic Hawk back there in 11th, as you pointed out. So I think that Max Iris, it is now his race to lose. He's over a second ahead of King David, who is still battling hard with Crowhawk to try to get away from him. But with McCauley also picking up that 3-second time penalty and Teemo hot on their heels, we might see the Mercedes driver on the podium.
Wow. But mind you, it could have been double Merc podium because two of the top three. Oh. It's the 3 cars ahead of them. They've all got penalties.
But they're going to have to kick it into high gear because it is coming to the final lap now. King David 0.7 of a second behind Max Iris, but he's not going to be able to overcome 3 seconds even if he does get by the Red Bull.
Definitely, I think I don't think no DRS straight. It's I think King D-Max has got just about enough to hold on and win this race. Might be wrong in that, but depends on penalties as well. What a drop! What a race this has been, and fair play to everyone that's took part in it, even those who've happened to end up not finishing.
Yeah, and so far there's really not a lot of battles for position, so I think that it's more or less after the time, barring time penalties, it's going to be what you see is what you're going to get. But we do have a little bit of a battle with Calvin Racing trying to find his way around Morris, and he's got a time penalty as well. So the further up the track he can get, the less it's going to affect him. And it is a 6-second time penalty for Calvin, but wow, Morris is really fighting hard. Meanwhile,
wow, what a race.
Max Iris in the Red Bull.
Contact slightly.
Max Iris in the Red Bull. He is leading. And he is just ahead of King David, who has got a time penalty. It's been a while since we've been able to say these words, but Max Iris will win the Brazilian Grand Prix. King David making a nice late race charge, but ultimately drops to third. Teemo in the second, Crowhawk in fourth.
Wow, what a race. Did Morris get a penalty last minute? Or did he just lose time?
So congratulations to Max Iris on his win today. Mercedes and Haas rounding out the remainder of the podium.
Yep.
And here
Haas
is
still on the podium, which helps him out on the constructors as well.
Here is your official finishing results for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Brazilian Grand Prix. Max Iris in first, Teemo in second, King David in third, fourth is Crowhawk, Morris in fifth, sixth is to Jonas, Yeast in seventh, X-Gamer in eighth, ninth is Sonic Hawk, Maddie in 10th, 11th is Calvin after that 6-second time penalty. He just was not able to overcome it. Then Frederick racing up to and Martin is 12th, 13th, and 14th. All of these DNF. Chain Game Wow, Rogue Smithy, 15th and 16th, 17th is Bossy Gaming, Cassidy in 18th, 19th is Asian 2002, and Cinna Martins in 20th in the Ferrari. We will talk to our top 3 finishers of Max Iris, Teemo, and King David here in just a moment. Hopefully all the drivers have been invited to the party. If you could actually check for me, Tom, to make sure that King David is able to join.
Yeah, hold on. Yep, I mean, he should be able to have drivers come in, but the thing is, we are in the because we have the comms booth, and I think we should have drivers that. Hold on. Do we even have King David in? Oh, hold on. I think we should get this sorted out.
Hopefully we will be able to talk to our top 3 finishers. Just waiting on them to join. Of course, that is at their discretion. If they don't want to talk to us, they don't have to. We'll just be sad about it. But what a fantastic race from Brazil, honestly. I mean, that from start to finish, it was a nail-biter.
Yeah, it was. There was just so much going on in that race. You had overtakes, battles, retirements. Possibly. I mean, that was just fantastic. I mean, I'm mind blown. My mind has been blown away by that. Oh my life.
So hoping that Max Iris will be able to join. Hopefully somebody will be able to join. Any update on that, Tom?
Oh, hold on.
Well, we got Teemo in here. We at least got somebody. Their second place finisher of Teemo. Pole sitter, second place in the Mercedes. Just waiting on that Red Bull and the Haas.
we've got the King David in there. Sorry about that. Sorry about the delay.
So just waiting on Max Cyrus to join, as well as King David if they decide to. But I guess we will go ahead and interview our second place driver of Teemo. But first things first, please make sure that you have allowed your voice to be shared. If you don't know how to do that, go over to the party settings, click always allow, and let me know when you're ready.
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, so Teemo, it was a very tough race for you today. It was a pole position, but then you lost out almost immediately going into turn number 1, and it was a race of recovery from then on. You had a few good moments there, and you were able to re-inherit the lead, but ultimately some contact with Jonas knocked you further back down the line, and you had to recover to a second-place finish. So tell us overall about your race and what happened with Jonas.
Yeah, like the quali was pretty good. Missed on my run, so I missed out on the end of the session, which probably because the track was still getting quicker and quicker. I probably lost out on a few tenths, but still pole, so it doesn't really matter. And then starting on the mediums, I knew it would be hard to defend from the guys on the softs behind me. So I was just aiming to get minimal P3 to turn and lap 1, which I was able to do. And then it was just sticking in the DRS of the soft runners, staying in the fight. Because I knew I was going to be quick on the end of the race on my softs compared to their mediums, if it wasn't for all the safety cars. Then somewhere in the middle of the race, I wanted to go for a move on Jonas, and he just, for my feeling, he just turned into the apex. I don't want to talk about it too much yet, but I'll have a look at it, and I might report it to the stewards and see what they think.
Well, Tom and I, we did say that we were glad that we were not stewards for this race, because I would imagine that there will be a lot of reports afterwards, but such is racing sometimes. Tell us about your championship hopes now, because you are still mathematically in the championship with 3 races to go. The max I believe that you can get is close to 80. I don't want to do the math off the top of my head right now, but you are still mathematically in there because Carbon Rob has 278 points. You now have over 200. But do you think it's a realistic achievement for you now with just 3 races left?
It's not realistic. Like, coming into this race, I knew all Rob had to do is just finish ahead of me once in a race, especially with this second place. I really should have won if I wanted to keep my championship hope realistic. But I'll see what I can do. And I've heard that Rob will miss out on 1 more race this season, so it's still possible.
And Tom, do you have any questions for Teemo?
Not much, but one quick question though. I don't know if Tim's asking this, but how are you feeling about Australia as a track?
I think it's pretty good for me. It's really strict on track limits, so there are gonna be a lot of penalties, and it's something I found myself really good at, just not getting any track limits penalties. So yeah, I hope I can win the race at least. Hope Rob doesn't score anything or not many points at all.
Fair enough. Congratulations on the podium today, mate.
Yep, thank you.
Good luck for next week.
Yep.
And Tom, do we have anyone else in here to talk to, or is Teemo going to be our only interview?
No, I think that might be it, unless King David comes in.
All right, well, then that's all the time that we have for today, but thank you all so much to those who watched the stream. Thank you to the drivers that participated, and, of course, congratulations to our podium finishers. And until next time, good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Have fun, and goodbye.
Yeah.